hello to all my friends out there. So the top ramen challenge is starting. If any of you have good top ramen recipes, if you can do a video or under comments, let my followers know so we can all make it too. So I bought this peach iced tea. These are good because it makes 16 ounces. So I put ice in mine so that my tea would be icy cold. I bought these marked down. So instead of 18 cents each, it's costing me 9 cents. And it makes a lot. So I'm excited. And to go with my top ramen, I made, yummy, I cannot wait to eat this. I made a hot dog wrapped in a tortilla. Whoops. Let me show you. My tortilla kind of broke up because it was frozen. But what I do is I cook the hot dog first. That's what it tastes a lot better. Okay, so now for the top ramen challenge. Okay, now I have a chicken top ramen. And the trick is you want to use what you have. Okay, so I made the top ramen and I didn't put the noodles in yet because I didn't want my noodles getting soggy. So there's 2 cups water. There is a little broccoli. And what I did is I bought vegetables marked down, and I got a broccoli. And I got all these peppers, which was a super good deal for $2. I want to make use of my my vegetables I bought. Okay, so now as soon as it starts boiling, I'm making a broccoli and cheese top ramen soup. Okay, so now I'm going to move this over here. And I want to make some white gravy with cheese. Oh, and this is all the stuff, you know, that I have bought over the past few days. So I had a little margarine. See, I had just a little bit left. About a tablespoon. So just enough for a little batch of white gravy. Okay, so I want to sprinkle about 1 tablespoon of flour. And I want to cook my flour a little bit to take that raw flour taste off of it. All right, let me stir my, ooh, yummy. This stuff is good. Even better when you guys can, if you can get it on markdown. Okay, so now, this doesn't have to be exact. It really doesn't. So if you have some idea how to make broccoli and cheese soup, then you know you can adapt your top ramen to it. Especially if you should get a head of broccoli cheap, like 50 cents. Okay, so now I have 1/2 cup water, 1/2 cup evaporated milk. This could be shelf-stable milk. This could be any kind of milk. And I'm making a little white gravy to go in to make my top ramen cheesy. If you get some lumps in, just, you know, keep stirring. If you're new to gravy making, don't worry. Just keep stirring and adding your milk little by little until you stir your lumps out. Sometimes it's lumpy and sometimes it's not. You could make yourself a nice little batch of gravy, and you could put, you know, I bought those packages of beef for like, I don't know, really cheap. I don't even know how cheap. You could put any kind of meat into this. any kind of vegetables into this, any kind of lunch meat. And so what I have is I have 2 pieces of cheese that I bought, 16 pieces for $1. So if you can, try to make sure that you get the one that's going to melt. Some of the cheap cheese doesn't like to melt. I bought this one at Food for Less. Oh, and if you're new and your gravy starts getting away from you, just lift it off the heat. So you know you don't somehow burn it or something. Or cool it a little by adding more milk. So this is going to be a cheap meal. My hot dog and tortilla chips are tortillas. My tortillas were 24 for $1. So you figure 4 cents each. And my hot dog was about 8 for $1. So you figure those are about 18 cents. So, you know, maybe 25 cents, if that. Once you make this a few times, you know, it's not a big deal. It's really not. I had a harder time making Jan from New York City's meatball soup the first time, but now that I know how to make it, I'm like a rat in a maze. So I'm just stirring it to get the lumps out pretty much. So if I want to encourage you guys, you know, to start thinking about cheap ways to exist. It's possible that a recession may hit. They're saying after the election, and I'd say if a recession was going to hit, that would be the time. If they can hold it off that long, I'm not sure that's a possibility. I think I see evidence of China dumping their stuff. Like, take a look at the real estate markets. Take a look at the mansions that are being dumped. They're trying to dump them now before they have to actually dump them. You know, before it becomes obvious that they're dumping them, but they're dumping them. And all the rich people are gobbling up the stuff they're dumping as well. I remember one recession, I think it was the Japanese. They dumped their their big yellow diamonds. That's how you knew, because certain people love certain things, like they love the yellow. So do I, and I'm not Japanese. So if you see a lot of big yellow diamonds, you know where they're coming from. They're coming from Asia. Duh. Also, you know, other luxury items that they dearly love, like Rolex watches on the cheap, you know, watches on the cheap. Well, why? Because they're dumping their stuff. So what does that mean to the little guy? The little guy has got to beware. So I have my top ramen, I have some broccoli, and now I have some tasty cheese sauce. I want to melt my cheese pretty much. It doesn't have to be melted all the way because it is going to melt. So now I want to turn my heat off of the top ramen because I don't want my top ramen, I don't want all my juice disappearing. This is supposed to be like soup. Okay, I need a little bit more milk. What I do is I use 1/2 evaporated milk and 1/2 water. It could be shelf-stable milk, it could be powdered milk, it could be milk. And this is going to make a lot. So see how lucky I was to get that evaporated milk cheap? 50 cents a can. Okay, so now let's just dump this into the top ramen. I think we can pretty much say this is going to be good. Let's get all my cheesy sauce out of the pan too. So, okay, you guys, I would like to challenge you guys to a top ramen contest. Anything, whatever you like. Pepper and salt. Where's my salt? You want to stockpile salt and pepper. Yummy. Okay, I want to add a little bit more. You know, like, do you ever buy, you know, sometimes, you know, you'll go out and you'll buy soup and you'll say to yourself, yeah, it's really good, but it's more like a stew than a soup. So when you make your own, you can make it thicker if you want it thicker. If you have cheap evaporated milk like I do, though. All right, I'm going to cook that for a minute. Now let me move over here. Oh, yummy. Okay, so now let's have a little of this peach light tea. Okay, so let's see. How many calories? Sugar-free. Calories, 5 calories. So these challenges are going to be going on and on and on until I'm done challenging myself, mostly. Last time, though, the ladies that participated really contributed greatly. I would say that this soup came from Jan of New York City Saves Money, her egg drop soup, and that's when I realized I could make some pretty good stuff out of top ramen. For this, the hot dogs don't have to be super expensive. I think I bought these at Aldi's. How about this? All right, now let me taste it. It's very hot. If it is no good, I will tell you guys. I will go, I hate it. It's the worst thing I ever made in my life. I don't think that's going to be the case, however. So you guys start preparing for the recession. Think about it. What are these rich people dumping their yellow diamonds, dumping their mansions, dumping their luxury watches really doing? Well, they're preparing for a recession. They're preparing for the worst. They're not sitting around, oh, you know what? Everything is probably going to be okay. Well, it is going to be okay ultimately, but why make life miserable? Start preparing now. All right, let me taste this. All the food is super cheap, but it's super good. Another thing I want to make mention of, when you're making cheap food and you don't have much money, be very careful when you're preparing your food. That's why I cook my broccoli before I put the noodles in, so my noodles didn't get overdone. And then once you learn how to make the white gravy, let me see if I can find it. Oh my goodness. Ah, the force was with me. stuff in my freezer, but then, you know, I've been doing nothing but buying food. See these? If you make the white gravy and you cut these in little pieces and put this in your white gravy with salt and pepper, it's very delicious over toast. So this is Top Ramen Challenge number 1, and I would like to ask you for a like if you like it. I would like to ask you for a comment if you have one, especially if you have a good top ramen recipe, or if you have a top ramen video, that would be even better. And I would like to invite you all to subscribe to the Crazy Cheap family of lovable followers. And my followers read the comments, and I also post the comments on Twitter, because if you go to my Twitter and you go to my followers and you scroll down, those followers have like 1 million followers. So subscribe if you wish, and God bless you all.